Let's speak to Nasim Ahmed, a political analyst for the Middle East Monitor. He joins me now live. Clearly, from the protests we've seen taking place, the barbecue by the hardline Israelis and the protests elsewhere, this hunger strike is having an impact in the West Bank. Do you think we could see more clashes because of it?
Yes, we could possibly see more clashes. There's been rallies, and hunger strikes is one of the ways Palestinians actually galvanize support around Palestine, around the world as well. They really don't have much options left, really, and the 7,000 Palestinian prisoners, most of whom are actually political prisoners, they really are in a desperate situation. I mean, they've been abandoned by many of the Arab leaders, and they really don't have much option in terms of improving the situation within the prison. Israel, let's be honest, denies many of their basic human rights when they reach prison. They are tortured. They're treated in a very inhumane way. There's medical negligence, and these are. They're denied family visits as well. So there's a catalogue of abuses that take place in Israeli prisons, and they're actually they want an end to this, and they want a better situation for themselves and the 7,000 Palestinian prisoners, most of whom, as I say, are political prisoners, and they want to end this inhuman treatment that's been meted out to them.
Well, bodies like Amnesty International would agree with you. They say that, Palestinians are being detained in conditions which are a violation of international law. Is there any international pressure on Israel to change those policies?
That's always been the problem when getting Israel to actually accept international demands. We've had hunger strikes in 2012. 1,500 Palestinians went on hunger strike. In 2014 as well, we had 600 Palestinians who went on hunger strike. There were minor concessions that were made by Israel. They improved the situation slightly, but as a way to actually end the hunger strike. But ultimately, the conditions never really change. The situation on the ground never really changes. So this has always been the problem when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian question, whether we're talking about hunger strikes, is treatment of Palestinian prisoners, or whether we're talking about Palestinians who are suffering under the settlements, Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza, getting international community to actually enforce its own standards and own morality and law when it comes to Israel. Israel seems to be above the law on every single issue. So this is another example of that being played out on the international arena.
Yeah, and in this case, the Israeli government says it's not going to negotiate with prisoners. In fact, it's responded by putting the ringleaders into solitary confinement, moving prisoners to different prisons. What effect is that going to have? Do you think there will be any kind of concessions made in this case?
Well, this is probably Israel learning from its past experience. As I mentioned, 2012 and 2014, there were mass hunger strikes. And I think it's learning to actually deal with this form of activism, this form of resistance. Israel in 2012 was not prepared for a mass hunger strike at this level, because to the international community, this looks like desperation. This looks like Palestinian Gandhis galvanizing together to actually form non-violent resistance against Israeli occupation. And there's no way to actually deal with this. How do you deal with people who actually use their own body and sacrifice themselves in prison to actually resist Israeli occupation? So I think they have learned, and they are trying to isolate the groups and the prisoners in different prisons in order to actually prevent similar kind of escalation, in order to actually make any further concessions. But I think ultimately there will be some kind of concession made to actually end the mass hunger strike of 1,500 prisoners, which we are talking about a large number. And you cannot have 1,500 Palestinians who are on the verge of dying, on the verge of death from their hunger strike.
Nasim, thank you very much indeed. Good to get your analysis there. Nasim Ahmed speaking to us live from London.